Welcome to the demonstration video for Affordomate, a software package designed by students for form annotation and automation. This demo video is aimed at volunteers provided with certain information by Affordable and tasked with the automation of individual forms by URL. They will be responsible for using the Affordomate Firefox extension. The first step in setting up the Firefox Affordomate extension is to download the Firefox Selenium IDE extension, an important precursor. This is freely available via addons.mozilla.org. We can search for Selenium IDE and add it to Firefox, agreeing to its permissions. This step only has to be done once for your browser, which will retain this extension across sessions. The next step in installing Affordomate is to go to a settings page in Firefox, about:debugging. From this page, you can load a temporary extension to Firefox. Actually, from the This Firefox heading, you can load a temporary add-on. Clicking on this button, we will select the Affordomate extension folder provided to you by Affordable here, and click on any file within it. Manifest.json or background.js should do the trick. You'll see that it shows as having loaded. Now we sort of turn our attention to individual forms. This temporary add-on must be loaded before each session, which is to say when you restart Firefox. So keep that in mind. But the first step to automating a form given this installation is to click on the Selenium IDE button in the URL bar. Before we click anything, however, we need to prompt the Affordomate extension to connect. This can be done by pressing the heart-shaped button next to the Selenium IDE gray rectangle. Selenium IDE tells us that Affordomate is trying to restart it and take control, which we wish to allow. Now you can see that this control has been successful at the top. The next step in using Selenium IDE to activate Affordomate is to click Record a new test in a new project. The project name is largely irrelevant, so we will call this Project 1. And give it the base URL provided for you for automation by Affordable. So in this case, this will be wheel-to-walk/application. Wonderful. On the left, you can see the Affordomate panel. This is where we will select database tags corresponding to the fields we address on the application on the right. This application, by the way, is for medical devices, specifically wheelchairs, but it's a preliminary form. It states interest, and this organization may follow up at the user's email address at a later date. So something that you could see being sent out in mass. To address a field here, we click on it. So we might click on the Enter Your Name field. And in our tags panel, using the search bar, after that click, we can select a common tag or an uncommon tag to apply to it. Since it's asking for our name, we can put in name here. It looks like full name would be most appropriate given this context. The next field, email address. We can type in email to our search bar and find the email tag, which appears to correspond. City and state. Well, let's first go with state. Maybe that's a point worth returning to. Finally, when you encounter questions that do not correspond directly to a database tag, for example, tell us about your child and their equipment needs, you should enter a question designed to evoke a response that you would fill here. For example, this question, tell us about your child and their equipment needs, into this tags or questions not present field. So we might write here, tell us about your child and their equipment needs. We would make note of that this field cannot be filled in automatically without user input. But of course, we can go back and check our work, clicking on these fields to address them again. You can see that this one has been annotated with full name, this one with email, this one with city and state. Unfortunately, we selected the state tag, which does not perfectly correspond to what the field asks for, so we may choose to update it, selecting a different tag, the more appropriate city and state. That choice is persistent. When you believe the form has been annotated correctly, you may push the submit button at the bottom of the form while the recording continues here. Of course, the form may not submit correctly for you, but your button push has been recorded, and the test can now be saved. So the saving process requires that we look again at Selenium IDE and what it has been up to. We can stop the recording, not caring much for the test that it has created. We'll call this test test, since we'll have opportunity to save it later. An important step is to either key in Command S or click the Save Project button in Selenium IDE, which sends the test that is created to the Affordomate panel. When you've completed that step, you can indicate as much by clicking the Complete button in the Affordomate panel. A reminder to stop the recording shows, and when you are ready to download the final product of this annotation that you can deliver to Affordable, you hit the Download Script button, selecting a space on your computer that is appropriate. So we could call this, for example, based on the name of the grant, Wheel to Walk. Excellent. And here I will drag into view our completed file, wheel2walk.side. And this is the final product. So the process of recording is at this point done. If we wanted to record another form after this, assuming that Firefox did not close, we would not need to reinstall anything. We would merely close the Selenium IDE window, the extension panel window, and start the process again, activating Selenium IDE first, connecting Affordomate to it, and so on. Thank you for your time.